This week, President Trump is expected to announce that he will decertify the Iran nuclear deal. This means that Trump gives Congress the ability to decide whether or not to pull out of the deal. Trump has repeatedly said that the deal is not in the best interests of the U.S. and that Iran is not complying with what he calls the spirit of the deal. Talking Points contributors Dan Prager and Shama say his announcement could have huge effects for international politics. They're here to break it down. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Elijah, first, why does he want to decertify this deal?
Well, he wants to decertify this deal because he doesn't think it's working. He thinks Iran is kind of skirting past a lot of these sanctions and they're kind of getting off the leash, so to speak. And a lot of the kind of argument against this deal says that it's been flawed from the beginning and it's fixed beyond repair, so we might as well just scrap it. It's going to end anyway. Let's just do it and get it over with.
Although he did have the option to just scrap it and get it over with. An interesting distinction is the difference between getting rid of it and decertifying it. Decertifying it just throws it down to Congress, which is actually a pretty shrewd political move. It gives Trump the ability to say, I'm doing what I promised, I'm getting rid of the Iran deal, so his supporters will still follow and believe that. But it also gives him some slack among EU leaders and international leaders who are criticizing him for trying to pull out of this deal, saying, hey, it's not on me, it's on Congress.
Well, how do you think it plays out in Congress?
Well, it remains to be seen. I think Trump is going to say, it was reported that he's going to say that they should not scrap the deal just yet. They shouldn't impose new sanctions. And I think that will probably stay for a while. I think Congress will go
I think it's interesting because when you look at kind of the split, the vote before, you had senators who were in favor of kind of not voting for the Iran deal, like Chuck Schumer, who have flipped because a lot of kind of lobbying organizations have flipped on how they support. For example, the Jewish lobbying from AIPAC now likes the Iran deal. They think that back in the day, they thought it was going to be kind of an existential threat to Israel, and now they're seeing that it really has kind of curbed Iranian aggression in the region, and they would like to see that continued. So I think you're going to see a lot of Democrats, especially, who were maybe on the fence about the Iran deal, more on the side of it now, and that might complicate.
When we move beyond the domestic perspective, though, and we get into the international realm of this, especially the interests that lie, how is the international community ultimately reacting towards this?
The international community is not a fan of President Trump in general, for the most part, and they're not a fan of what he's doing with this deal, especially the EU countries that are part of the deal, England and France. They are really angry at the U.S. for trying to back out of a deal that was an international deal, not just a deal made with the U.S. and Iran. And that could be really big. And it's something that Iran really wants. You see them when they're doing these missile tests. They're pushing the U.S. They're trying to make the U.S. back out of this deal. It's kind of one of their goals. They want the U.S. to kind of look like a bad guy. And it puts President Trump in a tough situation because do you stay strong and do you say we're backing out of this deal because you're messing with us and you're trying to provoke us? Or do you do what might necessarily be the better thing for an international perspective and stick with the deal and say to Iran, all right, we're going to let you kind of walk all over.
At the same time, you can say that they're kind of messing with it, they're pushing the limits and so on and so forth, but Iran is subject to the most stringent nuclear testing in about 25 years, and all international agencies say they have been complying. Maybe they're getting close to the line, but no one's ever been faulted for getting close to the line. It's when you cross that line.
And they're doing everything they really can to stay on the legal letter of the law side, but they're pushing it as far as they can. They go a little further each time just to see how the U.S. will react. They're testing Trump.
That push and that line is certainly something that we'll be keeping an eye on. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.